Finally, what is a good price for a protest instrument? Now, this is an important consideration. I don't really think it's likely that your instrument will get confiscated. That's very rare, but you are playing it out of doors, and so it could get wet. All sorts of things could happen to it out of doors. You're also, moving around, probably like marching, etc. And you're in a big event with lots of people. Hopefully, if it's a popular protest, a well-attended protest, and you could get distracted, put something down, lend something to someone, not get it back, that kind of thing. So really, I would say a good instrument for a protest is one which is as expensive as you can feel comfortable with having in the protest. And that kind of depends on your income or your kind of disposable money. So I was also trying to find, like, how cheap do you go before it's not useful. So for example, this is, I think, 50 to 70 pound ukulele, stays in tune, sounds good, is loud, great. But something that's £30, it just doesn't make the cut. So for ukuleles, I think not only would I say don't go kind of to the entry level ones, because they won't stay in tune, won't be loud, won't sound nice, but also if you go to the shop, there's a massive variety of volume levels for the ukuleles in the same price bracket. So just pick the loudest one. I think that's my advice. Next is enjoyment. So I like to practice on the instruments that I'm going to perform on. Some people don't really like to do that. They don't mind practicing on one instrument, performing on another one, but I just like to really get used to the instrument that I'm playing. So I want an instrument that even when I'm practicing it, building up to a protest, I'm really enjoying every hour of that practice. So for me, I think I already said that I sort of ruled out this Yamaha guitar Lely because it's not that loud, but it's okay. I mean, if you wanted to get this, I think it would still work nicely on a protest. But I don't really enjoy the tone. On flat. I mean, it's kind of sweet, but it doesn't have much resonance that I enjoy. So I much more enjoy my more expensive 3/4 size, louder, larger, etc. guitar. Because I just want to feel really happy when I'm practicing. So I'd say that for me, it needs to be the cheapest instrument that's loud enough, that stays in tune, that is good intonation, so not just staying in tune, but being in tune up and down the neck if it's a fretted instrument. But I'll spend a little bit more so that I enjoy playing it. The other thing that I will do, which is going to be sad if I kind of end up losing an instrument, is I spend quite a lot of time adjusting them. So like for example, I spent £5 on a bone bridge as opposed to a plastic one for this ukulele, and spent hours filing it, which improved the tone and the sustain. The same with the nut. I spent another £5 on a nice cattle bone nut and filed it to shape, and I did all of that, and that's made a big difference. And I've bought in the end I've gone for titanium strings by Dario, so expensive strings. So I've put a lot of time and effort and energy into the instruments. I think I also said that with the Melodica in another video. People give it a bad rap, but that's often because it's very slightly out of tune when it comes out of the box. And I've sat and tuned that. That can take a long time, but I'm getting faster at it. So, I mean, the good news is, Hohner actually told me in an email that there's no difference between the reeds, as in the bit that makes sound, inside their entry-level melodicas and their high-end ones. There's no difference. So this is an entry-level student melodica, and it's fairly cheap. I think it's like £50–60. I got it less than that second-hand. But for their expensive ones, they're not actually any better on the inside. So that's good to know that. And also some of the more expensive ones have metal cases, which I think does improve the resonance, but it's going to make it that bit heavier to carry. And I'm not sure that you need like I'm not sure that you need a more resonant sound necessarily on the street, because the street kind of just tears away all the resonance anyway, and what you really want is just a sound that cuts through. Finally, I don't really mind instruments being a bit more expensive if they're sort of pocket sized, because I'm less likely to lose them. So I talked before about the Fife. I know that sounds weird, I'm less likely to lose something small, but I feel like with a guitar, it's big enough that I could end up putting it down. It's big enough that I could end up breaking it somehow, and it feels like I'm probably just not going to let this Fife leave my side. So that's fine, and that's probably the most expensive instrument that I'm taking into the demo at £100. Everything else is under £100. So I think if it's not likely to be damaged, if it's not likely to be easily lost, then I don't mind it being a bit more expensive. If it's going to be a bit more kind of disposable, not that I want that because I get attached to all my instruments, it's better to have something which is really cuts that line of as cheap as possible whilst being workable.